I am Stevie.
Before the Warrens face their final case, before the book officially closes on one of horror's biggest franchises, let's rewind the entire Conjuring universe. Nuns, dolls and demons. And a cursed timeline held together by one terrifying truth. Evil doesn't die. It waits.
Not even a tourist.
From 2013's The Conjuring to the soon-to-be final chapter, The Conjuring Last Rite, this universe has become one of horror's most iconic and chaotic series. But forget the release dates, today we're breaking it all down chronologically. From Ancient Evil to Ed and Lorraine's final case. No filler, no fluff, just the key events, haunted objects and some personal opinions along the way. So let's get into it. The story technically starts with the nun, the origin of Valak, the demon that haunts The Conjuring 2 and beyond. In 1952, a priest and a novitiate investigate strange happenings at a Romanian abbey. They discover that the abbey sits on top of a gateway to hell, opened by a bombing in World War II. Valak, that demonic nun-looking entity, is unleashed, infecting and manipulating the living, until it's temporarily sealed again by holy relics and a bit of divine intervention. This film tries to be gothic and grand, but personally, it's more fog than fear. That said, it does set up the demon that will later haunt the Warrens themselves.
Hello.
It's 1955, and a grieving couple opens their home to a group of orphans. Among them, a girl named Janice, who becomes possessed by a demonic force after encountering, you guessed it, Annabelle. Annabelle here is a conduit for something far worse than just a creepy doll. By the end, Janice fully transforms into the first vessel of the demon and escapes under the alias Annabelle Higgins. This prequel has some genuinely terrifying moments, a solid entry into the franchise, even if the lore gets a little bit messy from here. Just 4 years later, The Nun 2 picks up with Sister Irene, now living a quieter life until the church sent her to investigate a new string of demonic murders across Europe. The culprit, still Valak, and now it's using a young boy named Jax to spread death and fear across a boarding school. This one leans harder into the demonic possession angle, with some standout visual scares and a little more meat on the lore, including a major twist that ties Valak directly to the bloodline of Saint Lucy and possibly Lorraine Warren. Still not perfect, but way stronger than the first nun, and it repositions Valak as the real big bad of the franchise. Jump to 1967, the doll resurfaces in Annabelle, now owned by a couple expecting their first child. A cult breaks in, violence erupts, and spilt blood onto the doll draws a demonic energy towards it once again. It's less about the doll moving and more about what it invites. We watch as a young couple is terrorized by visions, possessions, and eerie signs from the demon they accidentally welcomed in. Not the franchise's strongest entry, but it fills in the gaps on how Annabelle ended up where we see her in the first Conjuring. And now, the real centerpiece, The Conjuring. Set in 1971, it follows the Perron family as they are terrorized by a malevolent spirit named Bathsheba. The Warrens are called in, and for the first time, we see their full investigative process. Faith, skepticism, and all. This film kicked off the entire universe, and honestly, it's by far the best. Grounded, tense, and somehow terrifying without being over the top. Now we're into the Warrens' timeline. Annabelle Comes Home takes place shortly after they lock the doll in their infamous artifact room. One night, while the Warrens are away, a friend of their daughter sneaks into the room and knowingly unleashes multiple cursed objects. This one's more of a haunted house with everything in it vibe. It gives us a closer look at the room we've only had a glimpse at before, and it introduces new entities like the ferryman and the bride. It's fun but light, kind of like Goosebumps but for the demonologists. Next up, the Curse of La Llorona. Yes, technically part of the universe, though only loosely. It follows a social worker dealing with the infamous crying woman of folklore. Father Perez, who we meet in Annabelle, ties it into the timeline, but beyond that, it mostly stands alone. Unless you're a completist, this one is definitely skippable. 6 years later, the Warrens travel to England for the infamous Enfield poltergeist case. They're met with skeptics, demonic voices, and a girl who levitates in her sleep. But behind it all, Valak returns, this time more powerful and more personal. This is the universe at its most emotional and intense, and the way it blends the haunting with the Warrens' love story, genuinely moving. Finally, we reach the Conjuring 3, based on the first US case to use demonic possession as a legal defense. A boy is exorcised, the demon jumps into another man, who then commits murder, triggering a legal and spiritual battle. It's more procedural, less haunted house, but it dives into occult worship and curses like never before. Not the strongest entry, but an interesting shift in format. So, what started with a doll exploded into a sprawling horror universe filled with demons, cursed objects, and real-life ghost hunters. Now, The Conjuring Last Rites is set to be the Warrens' final chapter. Will it wrap everything up? Will Valak return? Or will it just be the beginning of something even darker? Either way, you're all caught up. If you want more deep dives and horror breakdowns, subscribe to the channel and let me know which Conjuring film haunted you the most. Thank you for watching. I am Steve E. And remember, evil doesn't die, it just waits for the next sequel.
We did it, people.